Absurd, absurd, truly. I've been fired again. And all because I'm a fool who is really too kind and people ultimately don't deserve it. This is already the second time this has happened this year and I need your help. Write to me below to understand what I did wrong, if I did wrong, and what I can do to move forward. Well guys, as you might have already guessed, I've been fired once again here in Switzerland. Unfortunately for reasons that are quite strange and unusual, apparently not related as it seems, in any way to my actual work performance. Now I'll explain a bit better, but first, let's start from the beginning. I came here to Switzerland in April. I found a job that was fine, so to speak, in a new work environment, with people who had very little experience in what they were doing. Surely I'm not perfect, not a perfect cook, but I am someone who puts in effort and who knows how to create and add value. Am I wrong? Absolutely, yes. Like everyone, I am human. Alas, I make mistakes. I am not the cook of the year. I am not Carlo Cracco. I am not a top chef. I can be defined as a unique cook, in the sense that I like to learn a bit of everything. I move from pastas to main courses to desserts to whatever it is, and I try to learn a bit of everything. So I'm not particularly strong like in meats and pastas, although I do know quite a bit about pastas. But I try to learn a bit of everything because this thing entertains me, and by doing so, I don't get bored. I think I am a valuable person when it comes to a job position, and I believe I am someone who knows how to commit and work well, though not perfectly. Here in Switzerland, the quality standards are very high, although I haven't worked for a Swiss company yet. But I received an offer, and I will talk about this later in the video. Unfortunately, in my first job in the end, things went quite badly. I was fired, meaning my contract was terminated in December. And I am filming this video in December and I am already in another job. So my contract would have ended at the end of December because the employer realized that my previous job didn't take off in winter. Therefore, they converted my contract into a seasonal contract, which I had to sign out of necessity. What does this mean? That for this year, the normal paid rate, from next year, there would no longer be paid vacations. We would have had to work only 8 or 9 months a year, 9 out of 12. The problem then remains, where do I find the money? And what can I do to pay for the other 3 months of rent, insurance, car, house, food? So it's not feasible. For me, I can't afford to temporarily accept a seasonal contract. Therefore, consequently, I accepted this with the idea that I would already have to change jobs. Okay. Then in the meantime, many things happened. Certainly, the work environment was not the best. There were many problems. A few things of this kind that led me to anticipate the resignation and to resign myself. But regarding this, there are 2 videos on the channel, a video in which I explain why I was fired, and a video which is this one here. You can find it on the channel. Just look for the cover, it's not complicated. Maybe I'll also put it in the description for you. It's definitely in the playlist. It's a video that explains why I anticipated my dismissal, so I resigned in advance, which is this other video here. But to cut a long story short, if you want to know the full video, go watch it, the complete story. I did it because I wasn't comfortable in that job. There were many problems and few solutions. That said, in the meantime, I found another job, still in the area, at a small restaurant, also about that. I'll probably make a video about it, even if not, thank you. I will make specific videos as I did with the other one. I've talked about it and we'll talk about it a little more because it's only been 3 months since December that I've been working there, including December. And now when I'm filming, it's the 15th, so actually it's been 2.5 months that I've been working there. At first things were going well, but I'm really having a hard time now. Sometimes I'm treated on a personal level really badly, in a bad way. I mean with a really unpleasant manner. The person in question wasn't a bad person, at least I don't think so. But a person a bit full of themselves, which if not carried, is probably due to their insecurity. Creating a work environment that is really heavy, really very heavy. If we add to this the fact that they are not well, have had health problems, this thing practically becomes a madhouse for me. There are days when I arrive and talk about my personal things, 10-15 minutes to try to calm the situation a bit, and I get reprimanded. The next day maybe I come and say nothing, and I get reprimanded because I'm silent. So, at this point I don't understand if I can talk or if I can't talk. I always feel very judged, very blocked by this person who I repeat, I absolutely do not consider a bad person. On the contrary, I thank him for giving me an opportunity, for giving me a job, even if this job is clearly temporary, because I can't continue like this forever. Otherwise, I'll really drive myself crazy because I'm a person who thinks too much. And I've also made a video about overthinking, which is this one here. So I can't help but give weight to things. I can't help but feel bad, not worry about a person who is in difficulty, not try to help them. And when my help is seen as a burden, as a nuisance, I really feel bad, and I can't understand why, because I'm not doing anything wrong. Surely I can't do things the way this person wants, but that's because I'm not them, and I will never be able to do it. When you hire someone to help you, you need to appreciate what they are able to do, especially if that person never says no to you, never says, no, I won't do that thing, no, I won't do it the way you told me. But sometimes you also need to appreciate what genuinely comes from that person. In this case, it's not possible because whatever I do is simply wrong, regardless. And when it is explained to me, it is explained 3 times in 3 different ways. So I find myself stuck, I find myself wanting to do things but with my hands tied. So what do? To defend myself and avoid problems, I lock you into doing the usual 2 or 3 silly things. By doing so, then I'm told that I'm not taking control of the situation as I should. But how can I do that if my hands are tied? How can I do that if I'm in an environment that doesn't give me the necessary confidence, but rather makes me doubt my abilities? Because I'm here, I have my experience. Sure, yeah, it's not exactly like what he would want, but it takes time to get in tune with the work. And 3 months are not enough. They are enough to do most things, and I can assure you that I can do those things. I can cook them calmly. Well, they will never be exactly like his, but they will still be good. They will still be fine. But this thing, in the end, is not appreciated. There have also been various small issues at the contractual level, some unclear points. Additionally, there's another matter regarding means of dismissal and various things within the company that have made me doubtful. And I've been thinking about it for a while, and maybe it's not the case to renew this contract. I was foolish too because we should now close for a month for restructuring, so the company won't be working, and I proposed the idea of working clearly. On my days off to put some money aside in case of being laid off and to lend a hand to the company, so that I won't be paid for that month. In the meantime, I would have managed in another way to then return with a stronger contract the following month. And this was proposed at the moment when I said, look, I'm proposing this to you also to give you a hand. I was told, but I'm stupid for not having thought of it already. Yes, okay, but find an employee who tells you, look, Mate, fire me for a month and then we'll resume. Because I know you're in trouble. It's not that obvious. Also because if you hadn't thought of it, I could have stayed quiet, and according to Swiss laws, whether we worked or not, I had to be paid for that month. The more I try to help, the more I feel appreciated or not appreciated. Where is the problem? I can't quit now. I can't say no, I won't renew the contract. Because even if I wanted to, I have things to pay and I need a job. After all, I am in German-speaking Switzerland, and I am working here even though I don't know German, but soon I will probably find a way to take a course that helps me at least to learn the basics, a minimum of German, so that I can somehow manage. And it doesn't seem like such a stupid idea to me. That being said, however, I still managed to have an interview at a new place that's opening, a place that is a hotel which will become 2 restaurants combined. The point is that I don't know if I have the skills, the abilities, if I am capable of handling those roles as they would like. I definitely want to try, and I want to do everything and hope to be enough with a training period, with a period where I will be trained to be able to join and become part of that company and manage to keep it under control. And be there and learn new things with a chef who seemed fantastic to me, and she's a woman. Here, however, are my insecurities, the fact that I overthink, but I've already explained this in the video about overthinking. They don't help me. Let's talk about the fact that today is December 15th, and this job will be available from April, so I will find myself with 3 months of not being able to work. And in terms of my personal finances, I have worked a lot, I have saved a lot of money to be able to pay for 1, at most, 2 months. Because even if I were to return to work in February, I would be paid after the 25th. After February 25th. So I would have to survive 2 months with what I have available in personal finances. Then return in February, and at the end of February, finally get paid and be able to recover some money. So I find myself not knowing whether to terminate this contract. Probably by the time you see this video, which will be released much later, I will have already made my decision, or continue down this path. Probably the smartest thing, and if I have to be selfish, is to sign the new contract starting in February, stay there for 2 months. Also because it's a new contract, so you're in the 3-month probation period, you can resign with 3 days notice, and you can also be fired just like that. And then if there's the possibility, because it's not certain yet, in April to start that other job, leave. Abandon this one and go over there. Even though I don't like this, I'm not a person who normally acts this way. However, seeing the responses I got from talking to the boss today, being practically called useless, that I'm not needed, that I don't know how to do things. After 3 months of being there, only to then be offered. Anyway, a contract was proposed to me in a month. So this thing makes absolutely no sense. Maybe it's time for me to become a bit more selfish and think about myself instead of putting myself before a company and accommodating companies, because apparently they absolutely don't care about your goodwill and your way of doing things. At this point, if I have to be honest, the smartest thing is to find a place to work. Another 3 months. In order to manage to reach a full year in the last 2 of complete work and succeed in case of real necessity. Thank you. To enroll in the RAF, which is the unemployment benefit in Switzerland, which will then give you 80% of your salary. And if, like in my case, you don't speak German, they will provide you with help, a course that teaches you to speak. Clearly, in the meantime, you will have to do certain jobs for them, in which indeed you are still paid. So at the end of the day, who cares, whether it's courses or qualifications? I mean, they practically pay you to train while you stay at home, and on other days, it's a wonderful thing. Let's say it wouldn't be a big problem, because if I worked here in February and March, plus maybe 1 or 2 months there, I could already register for unemployment in Austria and continue learning German. And maybe later, by changing sectors, going to work in another field. So it wouldn't be a big problem. But honestly, I would like to find a solution in this job and manage to work more humanely, not like the odd job person on duty. Or if it's really not possible, go to another job and somehow manage to be up to the task so that I have a 100% job that also guarantees my rest and my days off so that I can recover and give my best. And what do you think? Am I doing well or am I doing poorly? Am I too selfish or too kind? Write it down in the comments below. The fact remains that I was fired again from Pizarra for the 2nd time this year. And this situation, especially due to misunderstandings with my boss, being treated somewhat dismissively, is really making me doubt my abilities and is destroying me as a person, as who I thought I was and where I thought I was going. That said, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video and I thank you for your support. If you have any ideas or suggestions, write them down here, especially regarding contractual work matters in Switzerland. That said, I thank you from Taluto, and please make sure to subscribe because most of you rascals are not subscribed to the channel and still watch my videos. Got it? That's not good. Subscribe. That said, I don't know what will happen in the near future. I'll do my best. In any case, if you're looking for a dedicated employee, write it down here. Contact me on my Instagram. Look at how red my eyes are. I'm really exhausted, even today, even though I didn't work. In the end, between YouTube and so on, I spent 12 hours on it. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.